book besties. Welcome to More Than a Book Club podcast. I'm your host, Leyna.
And I'm your other host, LJ.
And today we're going to be talking about bookish events and authors we want to meet.
With special guest, Chris Wellert.
Yay! Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
Yes.
So exciting to have you here. And you are kind of what I aspire to be someday, an author who has a book that's actually finished.
Yes.
No, I heard on your last episode that was one of the things you wanted to do was finish your book. And I was like, just do it, girl. Just do it.
I need to.
You do. And so it's really exciting to have you on. You're an author. We love hosting authors, and we're so excited that we got to get an advance copy of the book.
And we did both read it. The book is called Awakened Power.
And it's a lot of fun.
I'm so nervous. I don't know what you guys thought of it. I'm so nervous.
Oh, you don't need to be nervous.
So just so you guys know how special you are, you two are the first really two people to read it. I had a beta reader that read like an old version, and then I completely redid it.
Oh,
so
wow.
You guys are the first two people to read. My husband has not even read it.
I feel so special now because writing a book it's like your child. Like you have that special, you hold it dear. It's very delicate, and it's an emotional journey whenever you write a book.
It's like you really put yourself out there and, to the unknown. People could love it. They could hate it. They could point and laugh at you. You never know.
So how long did it take you to write?
So I started in like 2020, like when the world shut down in March. I had this dream. I was working remotely. I should preface. I was working remotely, and I had this dream, and I just kept having the dream, but it would be like other little pieces of the dream every few nights. And the job that I had was a new job, like a new role for the company, and they didn't quite know what to do with me. So I had a lot of downtime. So on my downtime, I would be like, oh, I'm just going to type that. And eventually, like a few years in, I was like, wow, I'm already at 70,000 words. I feel like this might actually be a book.
Yeah, 70,000 words. You're on your way. You're there. That's awesome. So was the plot kind of the dream, or did you just see snippets of the characters?
It was a little bit of both. So snippets of the characters, but then the plot itself, it was almost, I don't know how to explain it. It was like the plot was always there in the background. Like I always understood it, and then the characters just did things.
Yeah, I like that. And then, not to give anything away, but in the book, the characters also have dreams. I was like, ooh, I love that thread that you have along there between real life and kind of what was going on in the book too. That's fun.
Yeah,
I did love that.
Thank you.
So tell us a little bit about yourself. Give us a little introduction to who Chris Wellert is.
Well, I was born several years ago. No, just kidding. I married my high school sweetheart. We have been married for 32 years.
Wow.
He still puts up with me. Yeah.
That is good. That's a good sign.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. We have 3 daughters, all grown up and out of the house. One lives in Rome. So I know, Leyna, you were talking about like that was your place. So yes.
You just have all of my dreams all wrapped up. You're an author. You've been to Rome.
It's funny though, because like as you're living your life, you're not thinking about it. And then when I hear someone else go like, oh, that's my dream. And I was like, oh yeah, that's cool. Wait, I've done that. Like I think when you're living it, you don't realize how like you dreamed about this at one point in your life.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. And so my husband and I, we split our time between Hawaii and Oregon. He works in Oregon, and he can work remotely as long as he can come back for big meetings or if there's any emergencies. So, and then I work as a nurse, and I work at a hospital on the Big Island, and I can kind of pick my hours, so I have a little more flexibility.
That's nice.
Come and go. Yeah.
That does sound like living the dream. My husband is Hawaiian. And so
we
would go back and go visit all the aunties and uncles and all that kind of stuff. His parents lived in Pearl City for
on
a
Oahu.
decade.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome.
We haven't been back since they moved. So it's been 6 years, 7 years. It was right before COVID hit.
Say I'm jealous because I've never been to Hawaii and it's on my bucket list. So someday.
I know. I keep trying to like recruit a crew to like, let's do a big like readers conference on the Big Island. Like
That would be
I just
awesome.
keep trying to manifest that. So then all my book besties will all come to
Yeah.
me.
Yes, I would definitely
Definitely.
be in for that. That sounds fun.
Okay. All right.
I
I'll
would
let
if
you
I
know.
have money. Very cool. That's so exciting. Before 2020, had you been writing at all, or was that like kind of just you just kind of started?
No. So I took creative writing in college. It was a minor, but other than when I did it in college, I never really did anything with it. I would make like little stories for my girls. My daughter was like, Mom, do you still have that booklet? Probably not. I don't know.
Oh,
Somewhere
future
lost.
children's author coming soon too.
Yep.
Right. Yeah. My youngest is pregnant, and so I told her I'll make him a book called Theo the Leo, because his name's Theo and he'll be
Oh, that's so
born
cute.
in July, so he'll probably be a Leo.
Oh, that's so
awesome.
cute. My
Yeah.
cousin has a Theo born in August, and he is a Leo, but he's much older.
See?
He's 12. So yeah, it's
Love it.
fun. I love that.
Yeah.
All
Is this
right.
your first
Yeah.
grandbaby?
First one. Yeah. So excited.
That's so exciting.
I know.
That's
I
fun. I mean,
know.
I'm not ready.
Yeah.
15-year-old
Yeah.
daughter, 19-year-old son. Let's wait. Let's wait.
That's
But
right.
someday.
Yeah.
All right. So what genre would you say that your story is in,
Or genres.
or genres?
Okay. So I categorized it as paranormal romance. You guys
Okay.
have read it, so
Yes. So we
Okay.
know.
Okay. so-
Agree.
okay. Yes. Okay. I did just finish writing the first draft of another book, and it's more of a cozy mystery rom-com type book.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I think I'll probably always kind of like have a little romance thread in there, but
Yeah.
maybe a little
Okay.
bit
Have you
different genre.
have you started writing the sequel?
To this book, To Awaken
Yeah.
Power? I
Yes.
have.
Okay,
good, because I'm
I was like, if you
like-
have not written the sequel, you set it up so perfectly.
I know. I'm like, when you said you wrote it, you had this other book. I'm like, but we.
Okay, so you guys read the book, and it's a little bit, it's kind of like intense and certain, like kind of a little
Mhm.
serious. And so
Yeah.
the book that I wrote while I was editing that one is just super fun, irreverent, like,
Oh, that's fun.
yeah.
But we got to just make
so-
sure that you're not going to leave me
Right.
hanging
I
forever.
won't.
I'm gonna
No.
need to preview that one too, because I don't want to
Okay.
have to wait as long
Done.
as the other people have to wait. Because we'll have been waiting longer.
What happens to Emma and Patrick?
Right. All right.
Yeah.
I yes, I am working on it. I'll let you know when it's done.
Awesome. I'll say I'm excited to hear that you are writing something different, that's fun, a different genre. But I will be interested to see how this story does end up, because the last, I think it was when I got to 80%, I didn't want to put it down. I just wanted to keep reading to find out what's going to happen.
What's going to
I was like,
happen? Yeah.
It's kind of like that page turner at the end where you're just
Yes.
waiting to see what happens. And now I'm like,
Yeah.
ooh, what's going to happen next?
No, now I will say, as Leyna mentioned, I don't love cliffhangers, but
I
I
know.
feel like
I thought of
Wait.
you too when I heard that on the podcast. I was like, oh no, and they already have it in their hands.
But here's the thing. I feel like you resolved like what
Mhm.
really needed to be resolved so that it didn't feel like you just pulled the rug out. I feel like you
Yes.
kind of, along the way, there were things that I'm like, oh, there's going to be more. Like, there's no way she can cover all of this in one book. So I kind of was prepared, but I'm just glad that, yes, there is a part of the cliffhanger that it's like, but for the most part, like, I liked how you wrapped it up. Like, it was not,
Okay.
because it would have been really hard if we didn't get that whole last piece where we get some resolution. It was just like, bye, which
Yeah.
a lot of authors do that. And I'm like, don't do that to me.
Yeah. I know. There's some famous authors that might have just recently published some books,
Mm-hmm.
some very
Yep.
popular books that
Mm-hmm.
have left me feeling very,
I know exactly what book you're talking about too.
yeah, I'm sure you do.
I think we've read it recently. So.
Yes.
Okay, I have to say, one of the things that I appreciated most about this book is that so many books have like a 20-year-old heroine, or if they try to do someone who is like, like around our age with adult children, things like that, they somehow manage to make the character feel old. And don't get me wrong, 9 o'clock rolls around and I feel very old because I want to go to sleep. But for the most part, I don't feel old. Like, I still am like, where's the adult to fix all of this? And I love that you wrote this badass character to show that, like, yeah, we're still badass. We're where we are. And she was written so well that it did not even, because I feel like every other book that I'm thinking of where they did that, it's always like, knees are aching, my back is aching, you know, all this. So yes, this character, while, you know, I couldn't remember, was she in her late 30s or early 40s, mid 40s?
Early 40s. Yeah,
Early
like
40s.
in early mid 40s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so
That's how I
picturing
envisioned
myself.
her anyway.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so, but I loved it. Like, I felt like I was reading a book about someone my age, and it felt real. It felt authentic. Because don't get me wrong, yes, my back hurts, but I don't walk around, and that's not my whole personality. But I feel like a lot of times when women are written in their 40s, they're written like, okay, we got to focus on all these bad aspects. And I feel like instead you focused on all the badass aspects of us. So I loved her.
And there was a scene towards the end where the male, you know, main character comes in and he's trying to protect her, and she's like, "Sir, I can handle myself."
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, back off. I got this. And I was like, "Oh, I love that."
Do you guys feel like that though? You hit that age, right? Where you're just like, back off. I've got this.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. I mean, I know I'm still looking for an adult to solve some of my problems, but at the same time, I mean, especially since getting divorced, I had to learn, okay, I had let him do so much of the things because he offered to, and I had to learn a lot of things in my 40s, and I learned that I can do hard things and adult things.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I did. I loved her. I thought she was such a great character, and it was just nice to read someone my age and feel like, okay, this is someone I could be friends with.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like when I was told you I was having dreams, and that's kind of how the book came about. That's just how I saw her. Like, just our age, doing her thing. Yeah. Yeah.
And
just
I love
because we're
that.
not 20 doesn't mean that we can't still be kick-ass, beautiful, awesome women, right? Yeah.
Right. And I feel also, too, it gives authenticity to, like, I know that they were soulmates and stuff, but like she's old enough, she's had experience, she can recognize the difference between the way you feel about someone, and recognize, like, I find that more believable from someone in their 40s as opposed to someone who's 18 with a 300-year-old, you know, even though I do love my 300-year-old fairies, men stuff, you know, whatever. But I liked that she's legit. I don't know.
I thought that she was just a really fun character. I liked the interaction she had with her kids too, because I don't have kids that are adults yet. Mine are 14 and 16, so they're still a little bit younger. But there was still that, like, "Hey, Mom, I'm here," and just kind of poking in. But they weren't her whole life. Like, she was doing things outside of them, and she was kind of exploring who she was as well. So this near-death experience happens to her, and then she has to kind of navigate what that means for her life. Does it change her life and her friendships, her job, all of these things? And I think that's one of the things that I'm really excited to explore in book 2.
Yes.
Is what happens with her abilities and her job situation, and where will that take her?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Not sure how much to give away.
I know, right?
Right. I know. Just don't give
'cause
away the ending. Just don't give
no,
away.
no.
Okay.
Well, so I have a question, and I don't know if you even want to talk about it, but do you have any experience like with paranormal stuff?
So not to the extent that.
Well, right. I didn't mean that, but you know, in some capacity,
right.
yeah.
Yes. So when my youngest daughter was born, right after I delivered her, I started to hemorrhage, and nobody noticed at first. And I used to call it a near-death experience, but I feel like the more that I've explored it, it was probably more of like an out-of-body experience. But what happened was, like, it was a very effortless sort of feeling where I floated up to the ceiling. I watched everyone rush around, and I could tell you what the back of their head looked like, right? And people were so worried and just rushing around. And all I kept thinking was, it's okay, everybody. Just relax. Everything's okay. And all I felt was like, I don't remember if I addressed. No, I do. There's this feeling of love that cannot be explained in the words that we have, that I felt. It was such a feeling of connection and love for everybody and everything. And it was Very cool experience. And I really didn't know what was happening. So I wasn't scared at all because I didn't know. It's just my husband holding our brand new baby.
That was
I was
terrified.
a little afraid. Yeah.
Yep. That's fair. That's really cool. Cause so I grew up around older homes, like 100-year-old homes and stuff from my family. I had a lot of weird, sensing am I alone here? And my great grandmother was really into like reincarnation and past lives and stuff. And she kind of we talked about that a lot growing up. And so I had so many experiences where I'm like, or like seeing in reflections, like something passed and things like that. So this was a very intriguing book to me because my great grandmother was like, you need to hone these skills. You need to hone these skills. And I was so freaked out because you're a little kid and you're like, oh my gosh.
Right.
And so I just was like, no, I don't want to, but it was interesting. And forever it's a hard thing to talk about because if people haven't experienced it, they're just like, okay, you're crazy. But like so many people in my family in those houses have felt like situations and stuff. And so when I read this, I was like, there we go. Now I haven't experienced that stuff in years, and I have my reasons for why I think that stuff stopped. Still, that was another element that I liked this because like there, in particular, in my family, we were like, okay, a great uncle that died before I was born, like everyone in our family saw him. And I apparently saw him and didn't know it was him because I never met him. But the outfit he was wearing that I described, like seen in a reflection, my great grandmother was like, that's your great uncle. Like everyone, that was like his favorite outfit that he would wear, these jeans and an orange t-shirt. And so it was just crazy. I mean, he died when he was like in his early 20s. But yeah, so anyway, so I got excited about that, even though that stuff still freaks me out. Like I nowadays, if they still had these houses, you could not pay me to spend the night in any of those houses. I did it all the time as a kid because I think as a kid, you can be like, well, maybe I'm a kid and this is all in my head. But as an adult, I'm like, no, I remember that stuff. Like that was not imagination and it was scary, but yeah.
No, I think that stuff is real. And I think that you can try to logic a lot of stuff away, but I think that there's been enough people with experiences that you can't logic it.
But I love all of her experiences. And so we're not going to tell you, but you need to read it because they're just tearing up at some of the stuff. Like,
oh my God, you guys are so good for my ego right now because I was like, okay, I'm prepared for them to be like, okay, so we read it, but there's all these plot holes and girl, there's a lot you need to fit.
I want to know more. Like, that's the thing is we're like, you kind of whet our appetite and we're just like, we want more. So
I want to know more about light work. Is it?
Yeah.
The light workers.
Yes. What all of this is and
like all the dimensions and stuff and all the different.
I got to be taking notes on this.
You can just listen to the podcast later.
I know, right. I know.
It's true.
It's there forever.
I mean, yeah, I'm like, I'm so excited for all of it. Like, yeah. And then and then it was funny too. Like Frank is hysterical. Like, but also
he's so funny, right?
He's so funny. Like, I love him. And she's like, oh my gosh, Frank. Like, hey.
Thanks for interrupting the best experience I've had in quite a while.
Exactly.
Frank Gimlet. So there's several bad guys.
Yeah,
in the
bad
book.
guys. Yeah.
But two of the main ones, one of them was named Gimlet. Is that right?
Yeah.
Is that how you pronounce it in your head?
Yeah. Yes.
So he's described as a short, kind of squat guy, reptilian. And the only thing I could picture in my head was Dr. Jumbo Jukaba from Lilo and Stitch. I had to look up the name because I'm like, who is that? What is his name? What is that character's name? But the doctor from Lilo and Stitch that has like the 3 eyes. But I was just picturing them like being a lizard. But the whole time I was reading, I'm like, that's what I'm picturing. The Lilo and Stitch bad guys.
That is funny. See, and I was picturing, what's his name from home? I can't remember his name. He's in so many movies, but the
Joe Pesci?
Yes, Joe Pesci. That's who I was picturing.
Yeah. Picture like a huskier Joe Pesci with like a little bit. Yeah.
That's kind of how I'm picturing him.
Yeah, for sure. That's funny. I love it.
I liked that there was romance in it, but there was such a good plot that it carried itself. Because, I mean, like, I love ACOTAR series. Like, I love Recent. He is my forever book boyfriend until I find someone else, I guess. He supplanted Edward Cullen. So, there we go. And, like, but those books, I can recognize, like, the romance really drives that plot as opposed to some of her other series. And so I love that the romance is very important in this, but the plot is so good that when you're not having the romance part, you're still like, I want to know. I'm not just waiting for their next encounter. I'm waiting because I'm like, no, I need to have all the information. I know where we're going.
Yeah. And that was one of the things that I had wondered about what genre it was, because is it sci-fi? Is it, because I was like, it could go in several different directions, I felt like.
I know.
Because it had
but
lots
it's
of
good
potential.
than anything I've read, because I have read some other paranormal romance, but I just liked all the elements that you're including with this. And I'm so excited to know about all the different beings that are out there. And I like that idea too of what's beyond what we can see. And I just think it's so fun.
I know. I do want to know more about the dimensions. I want to learn all about it. So you have to write a second book.
Okay. I'm already working on it. I remember, so when I was having these dreams and I was writing these characters, I just was like, I don't know, he kind of looks like a reptile, and then the gray alien and everything. And I looked it up and it scared me.
Oh my gosh.
Because like they actually, like, I had no idea. I've never heard of that. I never looked it up, didn't know anything about it. And then if you type in gray alien and start reading, you're like, never mind, I don't want to know. No, I don't want to know anything about this.
Let's just see here.
And last question for you. So Emma is a nurse. You're a nurse. Emma has 3 daughters. You have 3 daughters. Are there any
so
other
weird.
similarities?
Probably just a weird coincidence.
Yeah. But wait, do you have a dog named Luna?
No, but I do have a dog named Chloe that looks suspiciously like Luna,
which I love.
and
Luna.
Love it.
I know.
I have it on my notes here. Luna, I loved her.
No.
She was adorable.
She was so cute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Chloe is just as adorable as Luna. Although she would not save my life at all. She would run for the hills.
Yeah. I feel like all my animals, well, actually, that's not true. Rhett, my gray cat, is over here. I think he would stay with me, but I think the rest of them would abandon me for a nice can of wet food.
Yeah. Chloe, treat. She's gone.
Yep. Same. All right. Anything you want to say?
Yes.
I guess it's not a huge announcement, but it's kind of a cool new thing. My friend, Jessica Belshi. Hi, Jessica. She and I are starting a new virtual book club, and it is for new authors. So 5 books or less. You don't have to have your book published, but you do need to be working on a book. And basically how we're going to structure it is the first part of the book club, we'll read a book a month and then talk about that book for the first part of the book club. And then the second part of it, we'll just talk about what's going on in our lives as far as writing goes, because we kind of want to form this little tribe of people to just support each other, cheerlead each other, celebrate the triumphs, tragedies, all of the things. And so the other part that we really want to be able to support new authors is any of the books that we choose, they are going to be a new author book. So again, 5 books or less. And it has to be a new author, because we want to start helping those authors get visibility, get, reviews, all of the things, so that we can, it's that rising tides raise all boats. And that's really what we want to do with that. Yeah. Yeah.
So writers that are interested, what should they do? Should they contact you, or do you have a website? Where should we send them?
Okay. So we do have a website, our book club name, because we're super cool. It's called the Ink and Aura Society, because it sounds like kind of mystical and magical.
I like that.
Yes. And we're on Instagram. On Instagram, we're at Ink and Aura Society. Okay. And then our website is the Ink and Aura Society. So,
and we'll put that in the show notes.
Yeah. Oh, perfect. Yeah.
And by we, I mean Leyna, because I don't know how to do that. Very cool. I think that's so cool.
Sounds really fun.
I mean, I'm not a writer, although Leyna did get our book club started on a book club book that we're all going to write together. And she started it, and it's like so cute. And I'm like, yeah, I cannot write like her. But that's okay. We're going to still do it. We're going to have fun. It's still kind of just a to have fun thing. But I, as someone that's not a writer, but, being friends with someone that's been working on a book, I just think that sounds really cool, because I can't imagine. I know with us getting into podcasting, it kind of was like we're kind of on our own, because we didn't no, and we just kind of jumped in. We're like, hey, we want to do it. We're going to do it. And someone reached out to our account one day and was like, do you want to be in this, messenger group with other podcasters, book podcasters? And I was like, absolutely. And it was so overwhelming because there's like 100 people in there. And it's really nice though, because it's nice to have a place to go. Now we're not doing a book club. I like that. That sounds fun. But I love that you're providing a way for other writers, other new writers to build community and support each other, because we all need that in some capacity. And I think that from what I can gather, that's an area that really needs it. And you're going to fulfill so many people's needs.
And it is. So as I was writing and doing things, I did finish one book, but didn't edit it, but then started writing some more. But that sense of community is so important. And just like the touchstones of people to be like, hey, has this ever happened to you? Or, hey, I just got a rejection. Tell me I'm not alone. That kind of thing. Because it can be so just like struggle. It can be a struggle bus to be a writer.
Yeah.
And
you're so alone, right? When you were working, like, it's not like you're working with other people or you have coworkers. It's just you working on this book alone. And yeah, it could be really easy to get in your head and think, I suck. I don't know what I'm doing. This is terrible. And so, yeah, just to have that. And so it's what I'm hearing, Leyna, is then you're going to join our book club because
I have it written down here that I'm going to join.
Woohoo!
Yes. I love it.
I'm ready for it because I would love to have the community. I think that would be maybe that's the jumpstart I need. I had a writing group that I did write with kind of during COVID, and then some stuff happened. Like I couldn't be there as much. And then I started working. So then it was like, okay, they met during the daytime and my working hours didn't work with that. So just kind of lost that community a little bit. So trying to find that
down.
again.
We'll bring you open arms, my friend.
Can't wait. We had Nikki Blake on here, and she co-hosted once a few months back, 2 months back. Yeah. But she's been messaging us about, hey, when are you going to start writing? So I'll have to tell her about it too.
Yeah, I would love that. Oh, that makes me happy. I love this.
All right. So what book are you currently reading before we...
Okay. So last night, much like Leyna, I was ARC reading for a friend and her book, Hunting Autumn. I couldn't put it down. Like, the twists and turns in there and the red herrings, like... you're at like 85% and you're like, I don't know who did it or what's going on, but I need to find out. I tend to be one of those that sometimes I'll skip to the end, but I didn't skip to the end. I did stay up way later because I'm also a 9 o'clocker and I stayed up well past 11 to finish it. So
but those are the best nights though, when you have a book that you can't put down.
You're just like, one more page. I'm almost done.
Done. I know. And then I just started Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert.
Oh, that's so good.
Have you read that one?
Yes. I read that one every year. That's one. It's so good for creatives. Yeah.
My gosh. It's so good. And then I haven't started it yet, but I downloaded the Let Them by Mel Robbins, the audiobook.
I need to read that one. I've heard that so many people recently have been like, you got to read this.
What about you guys? What are you reading? I know, LJ, you're reading like 20 books at once, right?
I mean, we're now down to like, I'm still slowly reading Anna Karenina because I started in like January. And I'll read like 10, 15. I really like it.
It's a big book.
It is a big book. Yeah. And I've had other books that I wanted to read too. And then, you get to that point where you can't put them down. So then, okay, I'll come back to this. So I'm technically still reading that. I did start The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn because I just finished James. And then I am listening to Anne of Avonlea because that's our book club, our real life book club secondary book. We're doing those and so delightful. It's a nice, like, to break up all the other crazy stuff I like to read. And then I am in the middle. If y'all have seen the amazing movie Beaches from the 80s with...
Oh, yes. Bette Midler and
the other people.
I know. I know. I just remember her specifically. But I know there's other wonderful actresses in there.
There were Malum, however you say it, Blossom was the young version of Bette Midler.
Blossom. Yeah.
But I didn't know it was based on a book. So I am reading that book and I'll probably finish it by Monday. 'Cause I'm not I used to read so fast. I mean, let's be honest. I was filling my time and distracting myself from feeling things for a few
Right.
years. So now, like, I'm doing good, and I just gonna sound wrong. I have a life. Like, I did have a life, but I have more energy for the life, so I'm not reading as much. So it's taking me longer. But yeah, I'm about 60% in that one now, and it's very different. Like, there's some of the similarities, but it's very different than the movie. I think I still favor the movie because "You Are the Wind Beneath My Wings." How can I not? One of the greatest, saddest songs of all time.
And it's such a story of that female bond and friendship and lifting each other up through those really tough times,
Yes.
Oh, I just love it. Yeah. And that's why I think it's so great what you guys are doing.
Oh, please
Well, I was
say
just
how amazing we are.
like, first of all, you guys are like my friends on my walks, because I just put my earpods in and then I listen to your episode. And it's so funny because I'm sure all the people in Hawaii along the path that I walk just think I'm nuts, because I'm like, yes, Stephanie and Luna, yes. So
I love them.
So yeah, and so I feel like you guys are my friends, but just like listening to the two of you interact and watching you on your Instagram stories and stuff, it's like, yes, these female friendships and bonds that we need, especially as we get older, because we immerse ourselves, right, in taking care of our kids and raising our kids, that we kind of forget who we are, what we like, all of those things. And I think our female friends are kind of those people that help remind us, help bring us back to where we are and support us through some things that sometimes men, the men in our lives really can't support us through, or just can't understand enough to give us the support we need. So
It's true. Well,
yeah.
thank you.
And I love that you guys have each other.
It is nice.
Who would have thought, Leyna, when we met,
As
what was that,
kinder moms.
11 years ago, 10 and a half years ago, as
Yeah.
kindergarten moms. I know, it's crazy. Yeah, back when I
is.
pretended to be a room leader or whatever, room mom, that was not my gifting, but I sure did sign up for it.
We made all the copies.
Yep, we sure
I
did.
love
And
it.
I did at the time I was not working, but as a teacher, I knew how to work the copier. So
It taught you something.
it taught
Useful
me
skills.
It taught me some useful skills that I was able to give back. Now, when they asked us to cut out things, I was like, you do not want me cutting things out. I will look worse than the kindergartners cutting things out. So there we go. But it's fine. That was a past life, Moved on. Reincarnated back to being a teacher.
Yep, there you go.
There we go.
What are you reading?
Burning, which is one of the Jack Reacher novels. I think it's the 5th one. So I love the TV show. I think the guy's super hot. So then I was like, okay, now I need to read all these books. So I'm going back, and I started at the first one and I'm working my way through because there's a ton of them. And then I'm reading The Last Battle, which was...
You're reading it. The
It was
Chronicles
our
of Narnia.
secondary book club book from a few months ago.
January.
So I'm only a few months behind, but I'm finally reading it so I can finish up the Chronicles of Narnia. So
And it's The Last Battle. Is that what it's
The Last
called?
Battle.
It's the
Mhm.
last
Okay.
one, yeah.
It's the last book
Okay.
of the series, so I'm almost there.
And then you got to read the second Anne of Green Gables.
Yep.
But it's fun listening to because it's a kid's book. It's so fun.
And that's why I'm like, The Last Battle, it's quick. It's only a few hours long.
Mm-hmm.
And then Anne of Green Gables and Anne of Avonlea are just fun.
They are.
Yeah.
They're delightful.
And lighter. Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
We need those kind of books, right? When we've got
Mhm.
like,
Especially
more
to break things
intense.
up and to,
Mhm.
yeah. Like
Yes,
the world
'cause
is a happy place now.
I know I got to have something to mix up my thrillers and my true crime. I'm not listening to true crime right now, you guys.
Yeah. It's
But I
too
sure am
much.
watching a lot of docu-series. Oh, don't worry. I'm getting my true crime fix.
you're getting it in one way or another.
A Charles Manson one is coming out on Friday on Netflix, in case you were wondering.
No, thank you.
I need to read Helter Skelter. I had started it and then it got returned to the library. So I need to read that one someday. I know. I'm crazy. I love my serial killers. I don't know what's wrong with me.
I don't know how you do it. I would be
don't know
terrified to
either.
go to sleep.
No,
Same.
I'm like scared of ghosts in the middle of the night, not murderers. I don't know. There's something wrong with me. Although I will say, from all of my true crime stuff, my weekend job is I do public speaking classes for a private company, and they will rent like space in different like tutoring centers that are not open. And there's one that's kind of in this corner, and there's a bench outside. And so I'll go in, and during the winter, now it's still a little bit light when the class ends at 6, but if it's during the winter, it wouldn't be. And I would be like nervous. Like, there's one time there was a guy sitting on the bench and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be murdered and they're going to find me and all this stuff. Like, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is too much true crime for you. Did I stop though? No, not even a little bit. So
I'm going to a book event on March 22nd. And this is one that it was supposed to take place, or it did take place. I just didn't get to go. It was in Waco. It's the author Claire Saint Amant. I had to look it up. And the book is Killer Story. And she's doing an author book signing and then a talk to everyone. But she was a true crime journalist. And so now she's written a book about, like, she worked on 60 Minutes and different things like that. And I was supposed to go to it in Waco, but then my daughter got the flu. So I ended up staying home instead. But then it turns out she's coming here to our hometown. So perfect. I'm going to get to go see her. And that is so out of my realm. But I'm going because I want to get the book so I can check it off my book bingo card.
I wrote like, yeah, well, I was planning, like when I was listing out, like thinking about book events, and I literally wrote in my notes, Leyna is my guru for events. I have no idea, LOL. Which is true. I always find out all the cool ones from you. So just thought I would tell you.
So
that.
had you gone to any before we went to our event a few weeks ago?
No.
That was your first one?
I don't think I did. I don't think so, no. I mean, unless you count, like, there were no authors there, but it was a book release for the last Harry Potter at midnight at Borders Books.
Hey, that counts.
And I didn't even get my book. I didn't even get my book because mine was pre-ordered from a different one. And this is such a different time in my life. But I had gone out with one of my girlfriends, like out in downtown Dallas, and we were going to stay out longer. And then she's like, I kind of want to go to the midnight release and pick up my pre-ordered copy of Harry Potter. You want to go? I'm like, sure. So we're like in clubbing clothes at the former Borders, since they're gone. The Borders was on Greenville and Lovers, essentially, in Dallas. And we're walking around in our high heels, short skirts, sparkly tops, for her to get her Harry Potter. I had to wait till the next day to go get mine because I couldn't have gotten to it. But it was, yeah. So that, I guess if you count that, but otherwise, no, I don't think. I mean, I did see Jillian Michaels and got to take a picture with her.
Yep.
But
I was at the same one with you, but we didn't know
each other. We didn't even know each other. So yeah. No, I think that's my first one. I know you've been to a bunch. What about you, Chris? Have you been to many?
I've been to a couple like book signings. Mm-hmm. The most recent one was last year. I apologize because I don't remember the name of the book, but it's actually a book about scuba diving. I think it's 100 Places to Dive Before You Die.
Oh, cool.
By National Geographic, and I'm a scuba diver, and so they had a book signing, and they actually did this very cool slideshow that not only had pictures of their diving, but talked about water conservation and ways that we can kind of help keep our oceans and our waterways clean. So it was really neat. And then I got to talk to the authors, and it turns out that they had scuba dove with quite a few of our dive friends in Hawaii at the dive shop a couple years before, and we just never crossed paths. So that was pretty
It's
cool.
A small world.
Yeah.
I know.
That's so
I
cool.
know. So crazy. Yeah.
Very fun.
All right. So Leyna, what ones are coming up that we need to know about, even though Chris is not nearby? Sad.
I have to tell a little story though first. And this is what got me into going to book events. My undergrad and grad school where I went to school, Eastern Washington University, they do a festival every year called Get Lit. And
awesome.
It was perfect for college students. We loved it. But they brought Kurt Vonnegut Jr. If you're not familiar, he wrote Slaughterhouse-Five, Cat's Cradle, Breakfast of Champions. At the time, that was like my favorite author. And I got a ticket, went to go hear him speak, and it was perfect. It was like chef's kiss. It was so much fun. He was funny, and they had a special ticket that you could buy to go to like this small little restaurant in Spokane, Washington called the Catacombs. And at the time, I was a poor college student, so I didn't get the extra ticket. And then he died shortly after that. And so now every time that I'm like, there's an author event, I'm like, I need to go so I can hear their story just in case. And I think that's where it really hit it off for me, because he was so engaging and so funny and just smart and just captivated me with not only his writing, but his personality as well. And that's really what drew me into doing all the author events that I've ever gone to. And I think that was where my love kind of blossomed. And then I saw Margaret Atwood when she came through Dallas for the Testaments. And that was an eye-opening experience because all of her books, well, I won't say all of her books, but for the Testaments and for Handmaid's Tale, she said she got all the information from newspapers. So stuff was actually happening in places of the world. Or she grew up very religious. They were kind of like outdoorsy, but also very religious. And so she knows the Bible forwards and backwards. Like, just hearing from her, it was very interesting to hear her perspective of all of that. That kind of like sealed the deal. And I was like, okay, I need to go to all the author events I can go to now.
Okay, so I remembered, I actually lied. I did go to a really cool one, but I didn't think of it as that, even though I had read her book, and now I got a signed copy at this event. I got to see Miep Gies, who hid Anne Frank, at a synagogue in Dallas. I got to hear her speak and got to get a signed copy of her book. And it was really cool. She was really old. And I remember the person that was like the MC basically was like, just so you know, if you show up in Amsterdam and you look in the phone book and you call her, she's probably going to invite you to her house. And I was like, that is so sweet. And then, I mean, she passed away before I ever got over there. But I was like in 7th grade, and I'm thinking the tickets might have been pricey because my mom got 2 tickets and she didn't go. She let me and my best friend, who we both had already read her book, because we read The Diary of Anne Frank, and then we read her book. And so my mom was like, well, it doesn't mean as much to my mom as it did to us. And then also they had their, I got another copy of The Diary of Anne Frank, and people have seen it in my house, not recently. I don't know where it is, but like that had the sticker that said signed copy. It was because Miep Gies signed that copy too. People were like, oh, really? You have a signed copy
Frank?
of Anne? Like they ripped you off. And I'm like, my friends would say that. I'm like, no. Like, it's not her. But anyway, but yes, I forgot about that. I was like 11 or 12 when I went to that. So I totally forgot. I did. So now I've been to 3 author events, 2 this year, 2 in February, actually. So
you get around.
I got around.
Yeah.
I just took a little break in there. So yeah.
I know I go to a lot. The Dallas Museum of Art has Arts and Letters Live. So if you're in the Dallas area or in Texas, Oklahoma area, they have some great events. Jennifer Weiner is coming through in April. I have tickets to go see her. She's one that I put on my list of authors I want to meet. So back in, I think it was 2019, I think that's when she started writing about like Cape Cod and Massachusetts, that kind of stuff, some like beachy romances. And she was doing a Cape Cod weekend in 2020. And so it was going to be yoga, biking, hearing her talk, having supper with her. They were going to do like a, I don't know, seafood boil or something. I don't eat seafood, so wrong person for that. But I was like ready to sign up and get my ticket. And then COVID happened. And I was like, I could have had my chance to meet her. So now I get to go hear her talk at least. So I'm excited for that.
Cool. That's cool.
Do you have any? That's awesome.
Do you have any that you want to go to, Chris, or authors that you want to meet?
So I made a list.
Okay,
of
yes.
authors I'd love to meet. Okay. Number 1, Trisha O'Malley. I don't know if you've read any of her books. Most of her books, she does have print books, but I read most of her books on my Kindle. But she lives on an island in the Caribbean, at a place that my husband and I didn't know her or anything, even though I tell everybody she's my best friend. We've never met. But she is also an avid scuba diver. So I tease her on Instagram all the time, like, I'm going to be coming your way and we're going to go diving together.
I love that.
So, yeah, and I love her books. So, and then Brene Brown, because
she's on my list.
How many lives has she impacted with her down to earth, common sense, like uplifting words?
Yep. Yes,
yeah, so
definitely.
I want to sit down and just one-on-one chat with her about all of her research and the stuff that didn't make it into the books, and hear about it and all of her theories on shame and just all of it. I just want to hear her talk because she sounds so nice too.
I know. Yeah. Like you could have a cup of coffee with her and you guys could just be friends.
Yes. Yeah. I agree. I'll say a couple and then we can take turns, I guess. So my kind of on that vein, I don't know if y'all follow Sharon Says So on Instagram, and she's like a former government teacher. And so I think it was like in 2020, she started like, okay, when people like, you can send me stuff, you can send me questions and I will answer them based on like the Constitution and the laws, like not based on, but like on facts. And so they can kind of clarify the misconceptions or misinformation. And it was really cool. I started following her and she kind of blew up. And she does, I don't know if she still does these, but she used to do where you could sign up for webinars and she would basically give like an overview of how our government works and stuff like that. And so she's really cool. And I still follow her and watch some of her stuff. And she's adorable too. Like she's so funny and just, she's another one where I'm like, I think she would be really fun to meet. And she just had a book come out last year and I don't remember what it's called, but I have it. So I got the audiobook because I like, if an author's going to read their own book, then I'm probably going to get the audiobook. So I want to listen to her read it to me. But then another one, I don't know if y'all follow Geneva Rose on any social media.
I don't. I heard you talk about her.
I love her books. Yes.
Okay. So she and her husband are hysterical. The way I first ever heard of her was, I think it was during 2020. She was making him watch the Twilight movies. And then she would film his commentary throughout it. And he is so funny. And so that's kind of how I started watching her. And then I was like, oh, wait, she's an author. And so that kind of started with that. And so they are so funny. Well, and then she had this guy, Scott, who would send her email basically like telling her she's a horrible author, she should quit and all this stuff. So then it became this big joke that she was Scott's pen pal. And so she would, like in her, that's what her bio used to say, Scott's pen pal.
Because he wrote so much.
She would read like parts of the messages and then like be like, well, you know, I mean, she's so like deadpan. She's just funny. And I would love to meet her because I just think I want to meet her husband too. Like they're just so cute together. Like they just seem adorable. So I'm like, I want to come watch y'all talk. Like come do a tour and I'll buy a ticket and I just want to watch y'all talk to each other because they're cute. So yeah.
Speaking of tours, this is a little bit off topic.
Okay.
But did you know that there used to be a band called the Rock Bottom Remainders? And members included Amy Tan, Dave Barry, Stephen King, James McBride, Mitch Albom.
No.
So there was a publicist who was going around and doing stuff. And then she was like, I want to start a band with authors. So she started a band with authors. And they did charity shows and they toured a little bit. Like, I was just like, I think that's hilarious. And I was reading about it. And Stephen King does mention it in his On Writing book, which if you haven't read On Writing, that one is so good. That's such a good book.
No, you know, I've read so many of the other ones, Leyna. And he's
on
my list.
Stephen King, but I'll love his book.
I know.
You know he's on my list,
It's the only one I've read of his books.
No, he is on my list of one that I would love to meet. But I feel like, I don't know, I feel like he's got to be really strange because of these books that I've read.
Yeah. I don't know. You can have a pretty creepy imagination, too.
That's true.
I mean,
that's fair.
When I was coming up with names of authors that I wanted to meet, I'm like, some of them I just want to sit and pick their brains about how did you come up with that? Because that's so creepy. Simone St. James. I have her on my list because I want her to tell me a ghost story.
I didn't think of her. That's a
I was
good
like,
one.
I just want to hear a ghost story from her because I bet she has some amazing ones.
Yeah, I know. I do love her ghost stories too. That is true. I also want to, I want to meet Colleen Hoover. I'm so mad I didn't go to her store. She had a store like an hour and a half away from us and she closed it. She wasn't there every day, but like lots of people in the area got to meet her because she would be there some.
If it makes you feel better, I went to the bookstore and she was not there.
I know, but I should have gone there. Like, I've read most of her books.
Just to like live in the aura of her bookstore. Yeah.
Be like, maybe she touched this. Like, you know, I don't know. It
was a cute little store.
I know. I'm sad that I didn't go. But yeah.
Our big thing from that trip, my sister and I went, and it was about 90 minutes from my house. And they have a bathroom where it's on the like downtown Texas style square, and they have several of these, and they're single stall toilets, and they're clear where you can see out, but no one can see in. They see mirrors, but you can see out.
I remember you telling us about that.
I was like, you have to go experience the bathroom in Sulphur Springs, Texas. that was the one big takeaway I took, other than getting some romance books and a blind date with a book at Colleen Hoover's bookstore.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
It was definitely an experience.
Yeah. I'd have to be pretty desperate to use one of those bathrooms. Yeah.
I know. I want to go inside one though and like look
Just
out.
to go sit there and look
look
out.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have some more, Chris, that you want to meet?
Okay, so Janet Ivanovich.
Oh,
because-
yes, obviously.
Right. She's got to be the most hilarious person ever. I know that's a lot of pressure, but my God.
She's
I need to
hysterical.
read more of her books, apparently. I've only
Oh my
read the
gosh.
one.
I can't believe you stopped there. I mean, they're so
know.
funny. You will laugh
I
out loud
know.
in every single one. Every single
I feel
one.
like the third book is the one where I stayed up until 3 a.m. and I laughed so hard I woke my husband up. And
Oh
he
my
was
gosh.
so upset. And I gave him the book and he was hooked after that.
Well,
And
I
it's not
remember,
even his like genre.
like, I remembered, I think I must have been like, it was mid to early 2000s. And my aunt was like, I have to tell you about these books. I'm reading them on the treadmill and I'm laughing so hard I'm almost falling off the treadmill. And I'm like, okay, what are these books? And so she told me. So I like went to Half Price Books, got the first couple, and then was hooked. And then I had a bunch over time, and then I lent them to my mom, and she gave them to like the library. So a couple years ago, when I decided, I was like, I'm going to read all the published ones. I went to different Half Price Books because I didn't want updated covers. I wanted these neon
Yes.
colors.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
aside
Like
from
full
like,
tilt and all of the.
Yes.
Yes.
so
Yeah.
I have, except for the more recent ones, I have them all. They're all used. I don't care. And I've read them all. I'm still behind. I didn't read last year's release, but I love her so much. So I'm with you. I know. I want to pick her brain
Yeah.
too. Like, do you have some of these people in your life? Do you have a Lula? Like a
No.
Lula's
Because those characters
amazing.
have to come from somewhere, right? People have to draw from inspiration around them.
Oh,
So
Yeah.
who
Yeah.
are they?
I'm sorry. I'm looking at my cats to.
That-
There's
Are
like
they
three
fighting
staring at
again?
the. No, they're all sitting staring at the door. So then I'm like,
You're like,
What's
what's going to
happening
happen?
outside
What's
the
on the other
door?
side?
yeah, what's
It's
going
the
on?
ghost on the other side. They're
The
just
ghost side,
forming a
yep.
barrier. Mm-hmm.
They're protecting me like Luna. So yeah.
Now I can't edit this out because that was too funny.
What about you,
So
Leyna?
I
You have
think,
any more?
you had mentioned, Chris, gosh, now I forgot about it. The name of it, the book, The Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert.
Oh, yes.
And
Yeah.
that's one I read every year. And then I also read Year of Yes by Shonda Rhimes. And so
Oh
I
yeah,
had
you told me I need to
her
read that.
as someone that I would like to meet and just chat with, because talk about someone who has a prolific imagination and all these
Yeah.
characters in her head. Where do they
No.
come from? I just
Mhm.
want
I
to
know.
break
And
it
they
down
just
with
keep
her.
getting better. Like the shows that she puts out and oh my gosh. Yeah. I
would
didn't think
love-
of her, but yes. Okay.
And she's that
going on
book
the
she
list.
does narrate. So in
Cool.
those that it's her narrating. And another one that I had down that has that person narrating is Trevor Noah, who
Oh, I
He wrote
have
the
it. I
book.
haven't listened to it though.
he wrote Born a Crime, and the audio is the way to go for that book. It is so amazing. And he's just so funny. And if you don't know who he is, he used to be on The Daily Show. He was the host for several years. And then he's a comedian from South Africa. His mother is, I think, Afrikaans is what they call it.
Okay.
I don't know for sure. But then his father was white. And so he was born a crime because you weren't allowed to have interracial relations. So that's where the title of his book comes from. So it was very interesting. It was about his life, but also about South Africa, apartheid. Like there was so much going on in that book, more than just here's a funny story about Trevor Noah growing up. So that was one. I think he would be fun to meet just because he's been everywhere and he's just funny.
Yeah, that is cool. That's a good one. And I need to listen. I've had that book for like a couple of years, I think, on Audible, and I haven't listened to it because I keep listening to true crime instead.
That book and Becoming by Michelle Obama. Those ones are two of
They're
my
really good.
favorite on audio,
Okay.
read by the authors.
Good to know. Good to know. Let's see. Anyone else y'all want to meet? Because I got like a list of like 30, so I can go all night. Like, for
Give us
example,
one of yours, LJ.
okay, John Green. I mean, I've read his book. I can't read his books anymore because they make me cry. Although he has that, what's the new thing that he's
The
doing?
tuberculosis book.
Yeah, but that would probably make me cry too because, come on, it's tuberculosis. But either way, he is hysterical on social media too. He's another one where I'm like, you would be so interesting. Because like some of these, like I have on here, I put Sarah J. Maas and Jennifer Lynn Barnes, but I'm like, I don't like, that's going to sound horrible. I don't know how interesting they will be in person. Like, I don't know. Like I put Kristen Hanna, I put Holly Martin in person. I know we met her on the podcast, but I put Emily Henry. I put Karen McManus. Lesser known, let me see. Kara Thomas is a lesser known YA thriller. That's the cheerleaders, Leyna.
Okay, I'm like, read. I think I've read one.
You did. I made y'all read one for book club. And I love all of her books. But again, like all these, like I'm like, I don't know. Because I do follow a lot of them. But it's sometimes like, I don't know, And then Jenny Hale, she's another one that I love her. She's writes a lot of Christmas and rom-coms. But I'm like, a Frida McFadden. So I'm just going to start listing them, you guys.
You have a full list.
I do. Let's see here. Christina and Lauren of Christina Lauren. Another one that I would love to meet, John Douglas and Anne Burgess. And y'all might not know who they are, but they are the original Mindhunters. They were the ones that came up with the how to profile serial killers. And a lot of people know who John Douglas is from that
Mindhunter show.
That, and I mean, he's not like the main character in the show. I think he's mentioned in it, but there are more people associate him with that because he wrote a book. He wrote the book Mindhunter. Okay. I think he co-authored it. But what's kind of not mentioned as much there is how much of an impact Anne Burgess had. And so I'm like, I want to meet them both. They're like old though. So I'm like, now you're making me think. I got to like hunt them down and be like, come talk to me. Tell me all about your experiences profiling serial killers. And I will tell you, one of the most interesting books that I read, if you like any sort of true crime, he wrote one where he reviewed historical cases and the evidence and created criminal profiles and then looked at like who the suspects were and said which ones likely were or probably weren't.
That sounds interesting to me. It
was so interesting. So he did that with like Jack the Ripper, which now apparently, I don't know how, did they save DNA from then? Apparently they know who Jack the Ripper is now, and it was someone who was a suspect. So now I want to go back and be like, was that one of the people that he said was likely? But he did that. He did the, what was the Lindbergh baby kidnapping? He did the John Benet Ramsey case, which he actually was called in. He did talk to them and he is 100% convinced that the family had nothing to do with it. So, and I'm like, if anyone's going to say that, I trust him. Don't know that I trust anyone else, but I trust him. So yeah, anyway, so that's, I probably missed some.
That's your list.
That's my list. There's more too. Anyone else have anyone? Since I talked a lot.
You know who I think would be cool is Kevin Kwan. Because
yes.
So I hear that he has a home somewhere near us in Hawaii. And so I'm convinced that one day I'm going to meet him at the coffee shop and then I'm going to like accost him in the most aggressive way and be like, tell me everything, right? Just tell me everything. Yeah.
And just be like, take me home with you and let's just talk.
Yeah.
Because I want to see where you live. I'm just saying. He's a kid. I mean, like with all this creativity, I'm going to need to see. Right. Does your real life reflect any of this?
All of the opulence that your books do.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yep. Agreed.
Mm-hmm. Where and how do you live? I want to see this.
Yes. I want to know.
All right. So other authors that I want to meet, I had put down Abby Jimenez because I'm a fangirl. And then who else did I say? Anne Patchett, because I think she would be someone. She has a bookstore in Nashville that the next time I go visit my dad, I'm going to go to. I've already decided that is written in stone. That's going to happen. Leanne Moriarty.
Oh, yeah. I've read about her too.
In Australia. I don't know. I used to always want to go to Australia, but the more and more I hear about their spiders and their bugs, I'm like, nah, I'm good.
And their snakes.
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah. No. I just had that conversation with my husband and it was a hard no.
Yeah. No.
Although my in-laws have been and they loved it and said it was fine. But
I mean, everyone that's been says it's amazing. But then when you anyone that lives there, when you bring that up, they're like, oh, yeah, that's true. Like, okay, you're not selling your home.
No.
Nope. To me.
Just the giant spiders. No, thank you. Pagan. She wrote Life and Other Near-Death Experiences, Forever is the Worst Long Time. She used to do kind of like sports writing, like for Runner's World and things like that. And then she got into novel writing. And I really like her novels. And I've chatted with her on Instagram a few times. And she just seems really nice. She supports other new writers, which I think is a cool thing to do.
Trying to remember, there's one that I've gotten keep talking, but there's one that I have like multiple books and I can't remember what her name is. So I'm like, what is the book that I read? Go ahead. Keep
the
going.
last one that I had was Jodi Picoult, and I have seen her talk twice, and she is so intelligent, so like just eloquent with her words, everything. I just love her. And I feel like she's someone that you could have like an actual conversation with about books, about literature, and that would be really fun. I would feel super intimidated, but I feel like she's one of those people that would kind of put you at ease too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the
other
other one that I couldn't think of, and I've read 3 of her books, Stacey Willingham. She wrote A Flicker in the Dark, All the Dangerous Things, and Only If You're Lucky. And I 5-starred all of those. So
is she from Texas? I feel like she is.
Is she? Oh my gosh, now I got to find out. We're going to go stalk her.
Because I know you said Jennifer Lynn Barnes, and Jennifer Lynn Barnes is from Oklahoma. Because she comes down.
I didn't know that. That's real close. We're like 60 miles to the border, maybe 50.
Let's hit the road.
Choctaw's right across.
We're going to start driving to Oklahoma.
I mean, hey, it's from my house. It's only like maybe 40 minutes. From your house, it might be like an hour.
I've ridden my bike across the Oklahoma state border.
Of course, you have from here.
Yep.
I have not done that. I have, however, driven across the border and back because I went to college 15 minutes from the border. So that's what you do. You're like, I'm going to go into Oklahoma and turn around and come back. Okay. I'm going to see. Stacey Willingham lives in, let's see what it says.
Survey says?
No. Charleston, South Carolina.
Oh, I was way off.
You got her hopes up and everything.
She really did. I'm very sad about
Texas
this.
is a huge state, though, so you would not even be able to run into her at the coffee shop.
Yeah. That is true.
She would live somewhere in like Abilene or, I don't know, Houston.
Well, Abilene's not that far, but El Paso is.
El Paso, yeah.
Corpus Christi is. Whatever Amarillo is. No,
so
but
kids are doing robotics competition in a few weeks, and they have to drive 7.5 hours to get there. And they're like, still the state of Texas.
That's crazy.
Yeah. No. But I was looking up to see if, like, because I know you would put like something about Romance Con or something.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever. But I looked up and I could not find anything. So if it's Crime Con, I want to go to Crime Con.
There is, I would say Crime Con is a thing.
Yes. And one that does not have anything to do with books. Actually, some of the people on this TV show, on this TV channel, have written books technically. I haven't read them, but they have. BravoCon. But I will not ever be able to go to that. It costs thousands of dollars to go. Like a ticket's like $2,500. Because you get you get to meet so many cast members. So no, I will not be going to that.
No. I want to go to the Texas Book Festival, and that takes place in Austin every November. And for the past like 6 years, I'm like, I'm gonna go, and then I don't. So I'm gonna go. I'm gonna do it this year. That's my goal.
Year.
Yeah,
the year. This is the year it's gonna happen.
They have an authors, like it's called the Ashland Mystery Festival, and it's in October, and it's cozy mystery writers, and they do like talks and like classes and stuff. I'd love to go to that because I don't have. So Leyna, you went to school in Washington. Did you spend any time in Oregon?
A little bit. We went to like the Oregon coast and did Aceback Rock and Seaside, all that stuff.
There's so Ashland, Oregon is they're famous for their Oregon Shakespeare Company, and they put on Shakespeare plays, and so it's actually pretty like a well-known place for actors to come because they do Shakespeare plays like all throughout. Like I want to say it's like a 4-month stretch where it's just Shakespeare plays, and
that's awesome.
Yeah, and so it's a cute little town, and then you have to go there for the Cozy Mystery Festival. Yeah,
like have you gone to it before?
No, I just not yesterday. Last year was the first year, so this is the second year, and I just heard about it. So yeah.
Oh, that's really cool.
So are you going to go this year?
I'm hoping to. I think that
it sounds like you're writing a cozy mystery, right?
I know. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
But much like LJ, I just sort of want to be in the aura, right, of all of these like cool mystery writers, and like maybe just sort of like imbue myself with their energy. Yeah, like some hippie.
I would totally be way too shy to talk to any of these people. That would be me. I would be like, oh, I get to meet you. Hi, I don't have any words. And that would probably be it.
Well, like when we just met Tessa Bailey, it literally was a photo op. That was it. So then it's like literally, love you. Okay. She's like, oh, thank you. I think you're the next person taking the picture.
So the photo op thing is a little bit different than an actual like going and hearing them talk, because I feel like when you go and hear them talk, you get to ask questions. Mm-hmm. They're telling you about their book. They're telling you about kind of the premise, kind of like what we're doing here on the podcast. Like, Chris, this is your first interview, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
yay!
You're getting to hear all about Chris's book, and Chris is telling us, you know, what's going on in her life and giving us a little bit more of her history. And I hope that makes people want to read your book more. Maybe because your book it's on submission, correct?
So it's on submission right now. Yeah. So hopefully soon I hear from some awesome publisher who is like, yes, we want this book. Here's $1 million, and we would also like to buy the next 3.
Yes. Oh, yes.
We're just throwing that out there.
Living the dream. Just like you said, manifest it.
That's right.
I am here for it. I am here for it. Ready for them all. So
okay. And if we make
5
it happen,
stars.
then we're going to do the Hawaii thing. You guys are going to come visit, right? And then let's see, was it New York? You guys LJ, you wanted to go to New York, right?
Yeah, that was Leyna. I mean, I would love to go.
You want to go to New York just to visit because you've never been, right?
I've never been either. Yeah.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
Then
girls trip.
I'll be the expert.
Girls
my
trip.
treat.
There we go. I like the sound of
a millionaire.
I know.
New York has a book festival too that I've always wanted to go to. That is, it's in their convention center. So I'm imagining that it's huge. Because I imagine that New York City has a giant convention center, and they get some really big name authors. So
yeah,
we'll have to make that all like
I love
happen together.
Let's make this happen.
I know that's so. Yes, publishers, please.
And you can find Christine, or Chris, as she likes to go by, at her author website. So it's ChristineWellertAuthor.com, correct? Is that right?
No, it's just ChristineWellert.com.
ChristineWellert.com. Okay.
And then my Instagram is Christine Wellert
Author.
Yes. Yeah. So
perfect.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So website is ChristineWellert.com. Instagram, Christine Wellert Author. That's her handle. So you can find her there.
Leyna will put that in the show notes because I don't know how to do it.
You get hooked up with Christine.
Yes. Aw, thanks, guys.
This was so much fun.
It was.
Yeah.
So I have to ask, are you in Hawaii right now?
No, I'm in Oregon right now. It is.
You said something about Hawaii earlier, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what time is it there for? I was like, oh, you poor thing.
No, I'm in Oregon, so I'm only 2 hours behind you guys here.
Okay, so that's not bad.
Yeah, not bad at all.
Well, it's early, and it's earlier for you. You know, not almost bedtime here. For those of you listening, we record at night because Leyna and I work during the day. So
it's 30 almost. So
you're almost at bedtime, and it's in half an hour.
And we've had some wine, so it might be earlier.
Right.
Who knows?
That is true. That is true.
I love it.
Well, Chris, thank you so much for joining us.
Yes.
It was an absolute delight to have you on here.
Aww.
And we loved your book. We can't wait to see what comes next for you. And when you get picked up, we will definitely put all the information on how to buy Chris's book up on our Instagram and all of our podcast feeds, all of that. So we'll have to have you back on here.
Yes, and let us know when you have it on like Goodreads and Storygraphs so that we can add it to our challenge.
Okay, I will. Oh yeah, that's right. I love it. Well, thank you guys so much for having me on here. I have to admit, when I messaged you guys, I really thought I was just joining a book club. And then you sent me that thing and you were like, so we could talk about this, or this. And I'm like, wait, I thought I was just joining a book club. What's going on?
And we did that too, but we definitely want to have you back. Like,
we like you.
We like you.
Sweet. I like you guys too. It's like you're my little buddies on my walks all the time. I know.
Thank you.
Hey, we'll have to say hi to you next time.
Claudia, my mom, I got in trouble the other day, you guys. On my personal Instagram, I made a joke about that. And then I didn't think she saw it. And then she did. And I got a phone call. So I would like to be clear. Claudia is very supportive of all of my endeavors. She loves me. She does listen. She's just behind. And she says she never said that an hour was a lot to ask of someone to listen to a podcast. Now, I don't have the receipts, but she definitely did say that. But I love you, Mom.
We love Claudia. That's awesome.
So, yes. So, yeah.
Gotta love it.
But Mom, she hasn't met us in real life, and she's listened. So you got to catch up, Claudia.
Yeah. No pressure, but I'm not even related, and I've listened to more than half of them already because I just found out about them like a month ago. So
whenever you got invited to a podcast that you thought was a book club, I love it.
Love it. Love it.
Hey, you handled it beautifully, though.
I just try and play everything really cool, and
It's all
now
good.
you're a podcast guest.
Right. Yeah,
That's
I
awesome.
love it. Yeah, thank you guys
So
so
it
much.
was so much fun.
Yeah.
Well, before we say goodbye, you guys, don't forget, we are reading the book James this month that Leyna and I have both finished. So if you want to read with us or listen, highly recommend the audiobook. You will miss out on stuff if you do the actual book. And I am someone who reads more than listens to books. And then if you wanted bonus books, we're going to try to read Huckleberry Finn and Tom Sawyer. So we'll see.
We'll see if we get there.
Yeah. So anyway,
All right.
thank you again, Chris. And we'll see
Thank you.
y'all next
Next-
week.
All right.
Bye.
Bye, guys.